Hello everyone and welcome back to La Vida Fútbol. I'm Coach Laureano and today's video is a shooting exercise. This shooting exercise I call the 4-cone shooting drill because as the name implies, all you need are 4 cones, and it's possible that you in your football career life have done this exercise. Personally, my team where I play currently uses this exercise as a warm-up, but I'm here to share the different variations. I'm going to share 5 variations to be exact with you guys so that you guys can run in a warm-up before a match, or if you want to run it during a training session, you can see 5 different variations that I will be showing here. Okay, so let's get into the setup. The setup is quite simple, and like I mentioned before, all you need are 4 cones like the name implies, and you set up a square or a rectangle just outside the area box, and the cones are going to be anywhere between 10 to 12, maybe 13 meters or yards away from each other. So the ones that are closest to the goal are going to be 10 meters away from each other, and the ones that are farther to the goal could be a little bit farther out. So there you can have your 12, 13 meters away from those 2 cones that are closer to the goal. Now let's take a look at the first variation. The player that is farther out, who starts with the ball, will pass directly in front and do a 1-2 or a wall pass with the player that is directly in front. The player that is directly in front does a pass on the inside, and then the player that passed the ball initially shoots into goal. Now, depending on the age or the age group that you have will determine whether you use first touch shooting or if you require 1 touch, 2, maybe even 3 before the shot. Okay, so if you have older players or more advanced players, then you can do quick pass and then first time shot. But if you have players that are still working on their technique, then you could encourage the 1 touch. But personally, I would say take 1 touch and then shoot, just to work on that first touch setting up. And then also it compensates for the lack of technique from the player that is laying the ball off to you. Let's say you have a couple players that have different levels and one is really good, one is less good. Then the player that is less good would be obviously giving not the best balls all the time, right? So in order to compensate for the lack of technique, you can add a touch and then have that player essentially set up their own pass to shoot if they don't get a good pass. But that's variation 1. So pass forward, lay off into the middle, shoot, and then switch roles. The player who shoots now becomes the passer who lays the ball off, and then the player that laid the ball off gets the ball that was shot, goes to the line on the opposite side, and then is now a shooter. Okay, so that is variation 1. Variation 2 follows the same structure in the sense of the shooter becomes the passer, and then the passer gets the ball and then switches to the other side. So now we're going to focus still on the same side. So player 1 passes to player 2, we can say. Player 2 lays the ball off, and then player 1 now gets a pass to the other side. So now the place of shooting is now farther away to goal as in the previous variation. Okay, so in variation 1, the pass was going into the middle, so the shot was a little bit more central, and then the player actually decide whether to shoot left or right of the goal quite simply. But now when the ball goes farther out, this also changes the position of the goalkeeper. By having the pass go to the outside rather than the inside, the goalkeeper now moves and shifts over to essentially be in line with where the shot is coming from, which naturally opens up space on the far post, which encourages players to shoot in the open space, which is diagonally away or across. So naturally this would encourage a different shooting technique. Okay, so that's variation 2. The good thing of these 2 variations and all the variations is that you can encourage shooting with the left foot or the right foot, and of course players will naturally want to shoot with their stronger foot and will avoid at all costs to shoot with their weaker foot. But of course this can be a coaching point that you highlight is, okay, if you're on this side, then of course you want to shoot with this particular foot because it's just easier. You save time, it's quicker, it gives the goalkeeper less time to react, so on and so forth. Now let's take a look at variation 3. Again, following the same structure where you have player 1 pass to player 2. Player 1 receives the ball, shoots, and then takes the role of player 2. Player 2 gets the ball and then goes to the line on the opposite end. But one key detail is that player 2, instead of going to the opposite end, will now go to the line directly in front. Okay, so that is one change with respect to where the player lines up. Okay, but in this one you pass across, and then player 1 will be getting a pass now diagonally and then shooting. Okay, so this is a variation 3. The only difference here is again where the pass is going initially and then where the player lines up. Okay, now let's take a look at the next variation. So, okay, variation 5 is just like variation 4, but the pass is going diagonally rather than straight forward. But here the shot is from the inside. So if you start start on the left side and you pass diagonally to the right, then player 2 will receive the ball and go to the inside and then shoot with the left. Okay, so this shot would be with the left, meaning that the other shot would be with the right. Okay, if the pass starts on the right side, goes diagonally to the left, then the shot will be with the right. If the pass starts on the left side, then it goes to the right and then the shot is with the left. Okay, so those are the 5 variations of this shooting exercise. There are more, of course. There are different ways to build on this. You know, you can of course add defenders or a little bit of passive pressure or more act pressure, but if it's just for shooting, then you can use these 5 variations and there's essentially less stress. It's more just to get shots on goal and for your goalkeeper to also get active, especially if you have more goalkeepers, then you can have a lot of shots coming with these 5 variations. Obviously, when you have a defender, a more active defender, the shots don't come as frequently, at least for the goalkeepers. So one thing that you can do at a training session, and not before a game, but at a training session, is to add a little bit of competition. So you can fix the lines. So for example, line on the left stays on the left side, line on the right stays on the right side, and then you have a little competition of who shoots the most goals. And that is a way to add a competitive element to this exercise so that it doesn't become too passive and it has players working towards a goal, you can say. That is the exercise and that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or concern, comment that in the comment section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications so that you get notified every time I come out with a new video. If you like the video, kick that like button. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.